All right, I'm here in the backyard. Nice day outside here finally again. Some sun came out here a couple hours ago, so I'm not on the front my front porch. Thought I could be, but I'm not sure if you can hear that. But if you can hear anything in the background, that is the sound of all the people in Waukesha not paying attention to our governor's stay-at-home directive. More on that later. I try to take the good side of things. I try to find humor in things. Probably most of you do as well. Some people like to dwell on the negative. That's fine. But I try to take the positive when there's a positive to be taken. And so when we're looking at a lot of negative things, we could dwell on the negative things that have happened, and we could address those every once in a while. I think it's important to look at the negatives that happen in life and understand them and put them in perspective. Acknowledge them, but I do more or less try to take the positives from life. And there's a lot being said about things that are going out of business that will never reopen, and that is true. There are places that are never going to reopen, but there are, I think, if we look at it, there is a potential. I hope anyway, that we see some things never really have the same effect in our society that hopefully are closed down or limited, and there's a potential for that. To lead into what I want to talk about probably one of the worst decisions I made in my life financially. One of the worst decisions I made in my life was in 2011. It was right around now, actually. It was somewhere in the April, I believe, or March, Aprilish of 2011. I got a tax return, and it was a fairly sizable one at the time. And I took a portion of that money. We were getting into investing, and I took a portion of that money, about $1,000, and I bought silver, just because I wanted to diversify. We had some mutuals, and I wanted to get something a little bit, and I'll explain why I did that in just a second. But I bought silver. Why this was a bad decision is that I bought silver, about $1,000 of silver, at probably the worst week in the history of humankind to invest in silver. I mean, the worst week, almost to a pinpoint. I bought it at like around $50, something about. I bought 20 coins. It was about 50. But there was about $50 each ounce. And what I have now, it's I don't even know where it is. I mean, it's in my house somewhere. It's in a bucket somewhere in storage. I haven't seen it since. I mean, I know it's there, but what I now have is about $300 worth of coins somewhere that I paid $1,000 for. So I say it's the worst, one of the worst, not the worst. I've made worse financial decisions. I paid $1,000 for a card that was a lemon, and I didn't get my money out of that. So I have made worse $1,000 decisions, but that is one of the worst decisions. But the question is why I made that decision. Now, I personally am not a big global warming fear person, but that was going on in our culture, and so a lot of people, that was driving a lot of people's fear, and that was causing silver to go up at the time, along with some other things that was happening. But there's a lot of fear, and I said, wow, this is a good opportunity. Things are going up. And so in a sense, I made my decision based on what other people did. But it was more than that. In 2007-8, we just had a financial crisis in our economy. People were wanting to get involved in something that was more stable, and metals is considered more stable. So much for that. And then we went through, speaking of viruses, we went through the swine flu in 2009. So the world had a lot of upheaval, and this affected a lot of things. And one of the things that came out of this was all these what we call dystopian, end of the world, apocalypse type books and all sorts of things that really scare people, and people love to get scared a little bit, I think. But maybe we'll have to devote another day to that. But there's all this fear going on with things, and it was driving the economy, actually. And people absorb themselves, and I hope, one of the things I hope is that down the road, that these dystopian things kind of cure themselves. All these books and things that people write, well, people are now getting a taste of it, and I think people got amped up for what's supposed to happen when major cataclysms in the universe. And so here's this great thing going on, and we've got to stock up on toilet paper, probably because they saw, I don't know, a book or a movie, or read it. I know I had before I bought this over, I had read one of his books, just because I was bored. I was in an airport, and I was getting ready to return back to the States or something like that, and it was just before this, and I had bought this book in this airport just to have something to do. And so I'm reading through it, and you start thinking like this. It affects the way you think, and so that when this other information comes in, you think, oh, I need to do something. So make these. I heard the story about a seminar. It was probably a little bit more recently than that, but a seminar. All these big tech Silicon Valley CEOs wanted to have a seminar about some of these themes. So they bring this guy in talking about. He was there as a talking about financial preparation, but they didn't really want to talk about financial preparation for anything. But essentially what they wanted to do was find out from this preparation guru guy whether they should invest more in like panic rooms and bunkers, or if they should really be heavily invested in trying to get to Mars. That was really what their big. Here's these CEOs, these smart guys that run these multi-million, billion-dollar industries, and this is what their question to him was, because panic and fear drives things, and so this affects all of us, even people who are, Christian, who talk about, having faith in God. And Hebrews 10:39 says, we are not among those who shrink back to destruction, but in our faith we preserve our souls. That's this fear makes us a target for sellers of stupid books and movies. My hope is that people have gotten a little taste of what that dystopian life is, and we come out of our houses and we realize that the universe is still doing what it did 3 months ago. The grass is still green, the sun is shining, and really sickness is a part of everything, and death is a part of thing, yes, but life goes on, and there's going to be no zombies walking around your house, all that stuff, and I say that in some exaggeration, but there's this type of panic grips people, and in reality I think we've overreacted a little bit. I'm not saying that there's no significant harm or danger to people, but when we let that get out of proportion to reality, then it allows other people to capitalize on that, and in turn we make irrational decisions, and we buy silver at the wrong time of life or history of mankind. We do all sorts of stupid things. So I hope that people will have this taste and come out and say, yeah, maybe the next time one of those stupid shows is on, I'd rather not watch it. I've had enough of sitting at home in my house. I don't want to watch another stupid show about people sitting at home in their house hoarding toilet paper. So hopefully this affects you a little bit, and you can make the necessary applications, and maybe this tracks with you, or maybe it's completely off base. But hopefully we have another sunny day out here tomorrow, and I can see you again.